Hello, my name is Jack Beatty, and this is my section 2 to 5 industry placement. So first off, just a little bit about the placement. I chose to work with Cardiff Metropolitan University, which is a Welsh university that strives for excellence in all departments. Their purpose is to deliver high quality and high impact, practice focused and professionally recognised education, research and innovation. Their vision is to work with students and educators to realise their full potential in order to contribute to their own and future generations. Cardiff Metropolitan University works with not only students, but educators as well, uh, and also works with businesses, governments, and industries internationally. Cardiff Metropolitan University is a business that's privately owned. There is much debate as to whether universities fit within the private or public sector, as they are privately owned and they're privately funded, although do receive government funding, as well as they receive rules to control private bodies, although they do not receive nationwide governmental rulings, which is what the public sector really is about. However, they are privately owned. So my contribution to the placement organisation was that I was a researcher in educational resource development. So my role was to produce valuable resources for educators delivering the Welsh 2022 national curriculum. So the health and wellbeing curriculum side of that. So they're changing away from sport within Wales to focus more on a health and wellbeing centred approach. And I was using research, literature, and like pedagogical theories in order to create valuable and high quality resources for those enacting the 2022 national curriculum, as there's not a lot of, it's quite new, so there's not a lot of resources out there, as well as it's quite open to interpretation. So therefore they needed a basis of understanding for their delivery, for their enactment within the Welsh curriculum, and my job was to produce some form of baseline or some form of kind of like foreground for them to use in order to enact the curriculum. And my supervisor for this was Jane Bellamy. So some of the tasks undertaken, firstly, I produced an overview. So it was an introduction to gain valuable understanding of what the task was. So for both me and the educators, the introduction was key because it gave me a fundamental like start point almost for the resource creation. So I was able to do research into the Welsh curriculum in order to pick out what was key for delivery, and then give myself an understanding of what should be produced resource wise, as well as giving a understanding for what is required of the educators. So the first section was the overview and the Welsh curriculum, and I picked out the what matters statements as being the key for delivery, as they are the criteria which students progress and are marked against. I then did some research, some extensive research around pedagogy and pedagogical methods that aligned with the Welsh curriculum, so that it was valid and relevant towards the task. So I picked out pieces by MacDonald, Burroughs, and Wright, as well as Kirk and Ostergaard as the three key informers to my resource development. They provided a fundamental basis for the theories used within the resources, as well as they link quite heavily with the Welsh curriculum and the enactment of the new Welsh curriculum. So once I'd done that, I then started creating resource briefs. So this is the one used with Ostergaard's inquiry-based approach. So I would give an outline of the pedagogical theory being used within the resource, as well as what was required of the teacher, where the setting was. So there was a few classroom-based approaches, as well as a few outdoor approaches. So this one was a health eating campaign. This was predominantly done in the classroom, teaching about the benefits of healthy eating. So therefore, therefore I was using a classroom-based approach in this one. So the resources were based upon these briefs and shaped around these briefs. As we can see here, I then started to create resources. So they were diverse and rich informational resources that would give a good insight into what is required, or like what the educators can use in order to produce high quality PE lessons. The resources focused on what the educator could do, as well, like so like teaching points, education points, like what was required of them, what their role was, if they took an active role within the session, or whether they took a facilitative role and they facilitated learning, which was key. I found a key theme throughout the Welsh curriculum, this idea of facilitation, as well as learner points. So what was expected of the learners, and what would give a good understanding of where to progress, how to progress learners and where to progress learners. There was progression steps within each of the resources created. So, the bullet points there show how to progress each of the lessons and how they can make it more challenging for the learners. The key outcomes of this then was provide a basis for curricular enactment within the Welsh curriculum. So there was a key link then between, like, obviously giving them the fundamentals, the educators the fundamentals for their delivery within the new Welsh curriculum. If they were uncertain, they can come to this document in order to give them some insight. They can take it and use it for themselves, or they can edit it and use it as a template almost. As well as giving an understanding for the new Welsh curriculum. There was a lot of misinterpretation, not misinterpretation, but there was a lot of confusion around the new Welsh curriculum, as well as having a personal benefit and for my own personal growth, as I was able to engage with literature, expand my knowledge, as well as me looking to become a teacher. It's key to understand pedagogical theories and key to produce resources, as that will be a day-to-day thing when being a PE teacher. So then placement learning, some of the learning that was undertaken during the placement, I learned a lot from this placement. So as previously outlined by Knight, Cardiff Metropolitan University operate somewhat within the private sector. This means that the standards are set by individuals or the business or the company itself, not governmental nationwide standards. Therefore, the standards could have been a lot higher. They could have asked a lot more of me than the government would have done, meaning I need to produce high quality, valid resources with good literature and good understanding and knowledge within them. So one of the key standards that Cardiff Met required was a valid resource development using research and literature. So I tackled this by developing good valid resources underpinned by theory. One of the most interesting ones I found was using Bernstein's conceptualization of an integrated curriculum, as that really went hand in hand with the Welsh curriculum. We were able to run alongside each other due to the Welsh curriculum's need for developing cross-curricular competencies. So this was then able to become quite a strong resource, and it would be good for educators to use, as they can gain an understanding of Bernstein's conceptualizations of integrated curricula, as well as putting that into practice within the Welsh curriculum by using, here it says, an outdoor learning integrated numeracy lesson. So taking numeracy, taking maths and putting it into a PE session in order to gain better cognitive outcomes using this idea of an integrated curriculum, so taking maths and putting outdoors. So then, in order to expand further learning and what I would have done differently, had I done this again, I would have been able to develop competencies around curriculum resource design. So using YouTube within the digital age to gain information around how to develop resources, as well as attending seminars on how to develop resources or how to conduct research properly and validly. This obviously can't happen at the moment due to the COVID-19 restrictions. However, in the future, looks more possible. So finally, just planning for the future then, using Armour's theory of constant learning and contribution to personal growth. There's a key emphasis on career-long learning. So with that in mind, I would like to expand my own literature knowledge using further research, as I believe it's essential for professional development. So if I was to do this again, do the industry placement again, I would expand my knowledge further prior to going into the industry in order to come out with a higher outcome, come out with produce higher quality resources. I feel like as well with my aspirations within the RIT 1, I plan to be a PE teacher within 18 months of passing my degree, as 81% of PGCE students manage to get a job within teaching. And I then aimed for my 36-month plan was to become a producer of high quality PE lessons within a secondary school setting. Also aligning with Schulman's 3 topics of content knowledge. So I really feel like gaining more research and gaining a better content knowledge can really help me produce higher quality PE lessons. Gaining more knowledge around pedagogical theories and concepts will really benefit me when looking to produce high quality PE lessons. And my main top tip for anyone looking to do voluntary placements or placement work at any point would be to learn through experience, as it's got the most valuable knowledge within it. Learning through experience can give you so many different better understandings of what is going on. There's so much learning that can be done within a classroom that doesn't give you the correct or the more valuable side of things, whereas if you're chucked in at the deep end, you're able to learn a little bit better and a little bit more. So yeah, that was my section 2 to 5 on industry placement. Thank you very much for listening.